Okay, we're going to go over the rudimental roll breakdowns. So I want you to be able to see a roll in a rudimental solo and be able to decode it and understand what to name it. If you're looking through here, as you look at the topic as an example, it shows a half note with slashers on it tied to a quarter. Now, what you always need to ask yourself when you see those slashes is how many 16th notes can fit in the note with the slashes. So in this case, the note with the slashes is a half note. So think about it. A half note is worth how many beats? 2 quarters, right? Now, how many 16th notes are in those 2 quarters? Well, each quarter has 4 16th notes. So 1 and a 2 and a. So those are 8 16th notes. So you need to be thinking skeleton like this. Okay? Now you're going to put slashes on those because you're going to roll those 16th notes. So when you roll something, if you look at this picture, if you take a 16th note and you put a slash on it, it creates 2 32nd notes, because if I chopped you in half, you would turn into 2 pieces, right? So it turns into 2 of something that was once whole. So it becomes 2 32nd notes. So it's an actual rhythm, not just roll, but you're actually making a rhythm. Okay? So if we do that for every one of these 8 16th notes, that becomes 8 times 2, which is 16. And then think about the last note of the roll, which is the release, and so add one more. So that's a 17-stroke roll. So when you're rolling, when you're doing this, the skeleton is 1E and a 2E and a 3. Try it again. 1E and a 2E and a 3. Now we're going to put drags on that. 1E and a 2E and a 3. Try it. 1E and a 2E and a 3. You're playing 8 drags, which means 16 notes. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17 is release. 1E and a 2E and a 3. Okay, so that's the example. So all these will have skeletons. So it shows you right here a 9-stroke roll skeleton is 1E and a 2. Of course, the 17-stroke roll skeleton is 1E and a 2E and a 3. And then the 5-stroke roll pattern is 1E and. Okay, so we're going to go through each of those in a second, but those are the main ones you're going to see. You just need to memorize the skeleton patterns for those. We also have upbeat variations for 9-stroke rolls and 5-stroke rolls, which we'll go over in a second. But let's talk about the big beat rolls. 9-stroke rolls you're going to see notated as this. And so you're seeing those slashes on a quarter note. So ask yourself, how many 16th notes fit in that quarter note? Well, we know each quarter note gets 1E and 4 16th notes. So you're going to be thinking this with slashes on it. So your skeleton is this, 1E and a 2. And you put drags on that, 1E and a 2. So we're doing 4 16 notes with drags on them, so we're going to multiply them times 2. So 4 times 2 is 8, plus the release is 9. That's a 9-stroke roll. 1E and a 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay? And you can also think this, 9-stroke roll, 9-stroke roll, 9-stroke roll. Okay? Of course, we went over the 17-stroke roll already. Okay, so we're going to move on to the second page. So the second page shows the 5-stroke roll. Now you're going to have downbeat 5-stroke rolls and upbeat 5-stroke rolls. The downbeat is when your toe hits the floor, when you're tapping your toe. The upbeat is between 1 and 2 and, so that the upbeat is the and. It's saying that if the roll occurs on a downbeat, that's a downbeat 5. If the roll occurs on the upbeat and starts in the upbeat, it's an upbeat 5-stroke roll. So the downbeat 5-stroke roll, or on the beat, looks like this. It's an 8th note with slashes. Well, we want to find out how many 16th notes live in there. So how many 16th notes live in an 8th note? Think about it. It splits into 2, right? So you have 1E, and then that and that it's tied to is the same and. So it's 1E and. So it looks like this in your head as a skeleton. And then put drags on the 16 notes. 1E and. 1E and. 5-stroke roll. 5-stroke roll. Again, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the release. 5-stroke roll. Now, an upbeat 5-stroke roll will look like this. Okay, and so you see how the roll happens on the end. 1 and is where the slashes are. Again, it's an 8th note, so 2 16th notes live in there. Put drags on them. So it's the skeleton is this, 1 and a 2, and put rolls on the 16th notes. 1 and a 2. Again, I'm starting the roll on the end, so it's an upbeat 5-stroke roll. Okay, next one. The downbeat 13-stroke roll looks like this. It's a dotted quarter. So we got to figure out how many 16th notes live in that dotted quarter. Well, first of all, a quarter note breaks down into 8th notes. So when we think dotted note, we can think 3 8th notes. Okay. Now each 8th note has 2 16th notes in each. So it's 1E and 2E. So it's worth 6 16th notes. So that's going to look like this: 1E and 2E, and then you put the release on the and. Put drags on all the 16 notes. 1 E and a 2 E and. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now here's the next beat. 9, 10, 11, 12, and then the release is 13. 13 stroke roll. 13 stroke roll. 1 E and a 2 E and. 1 E and a 2 E and. Now likewise, you could see this on the upbeat. So you see an 8th note first, like this, and then the dotted quarter roll again. And we know there's 6 16th notes in there and with rolls. So it becomes 1 and a 2 E and a 3. 1 and a 2 E and a 3. So then you put the rolls in. 1 and a 2 E and a 3. Right hand lead system for 16 notes. 1 and a 2 E and a 3. Ones and ands are rights, E's and U's are lefts. You can think 1, 13 stroke roll. 1, 13 stroke roll. Onto your 7 stroke rolls. So these look the weirdest, but they're actually pretty straightforward. They're almost like a 9 stroke roll minus 1 drag. So you're going to see it like this. Now we know the first note is a 16th note because it has 2 flags, as you can see. Now the next note is going to be a dotted 8th note. Now again, a dotted note, you're thinking 3, right? So that's an 8th note. Now what does an 8th note break down to? 16th notes. So already it breaks down 16th notes for you. So it's 3 16th notes. So if you have 1 16th note plus 3 16th notes, you're basically playing 1 E and a, right? So your skeleton is just like a 9 stroke roll. 1 E and a 2, right? And then all you're going to do is put the roll starting on the E. 1 E and a 2. So when you start the rolls, when you count 1, now start counting the roll. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 is the release. So it's a 7 stroke roll. Now this one is called a tap 7 because you're putting a tap before the drags. 1 E and a 2. 1 E and a 2. 1 E and a 2. Now sometimes you'll have a 7 stroke roll where you won't play the tap and it's just on the E. Rest E and a 2. Rest E and a 2. And that looks like this. 1 E and a 2. E and a 2. Okay, it's the same, but you're resting on 1. Sometimes you'll see a triplet 7-stroke roll. Okay, that looks a lot like a 5-stroke roll, but they'll probably put a 3 on it like this. And then what you're going to do is make it a triplet 60 notes. So your check becomes 1 triplet 2, 1 triplet 2, 1 triplet 2, and then put a roll. Tap, triplet 2, 1 and 2. So I'm still doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's a 7-stroke roll, but in triplet form. Okay, you could mess with all these rolls with triplets, but you see that often, so I want to make sure you know it. All right, upbeat 9-stroke rolls. So 9-stroke roll again was 4 6 notes, 1 E and a 2. Now you can do the same thing as a 13-stroke roll and put it on the upbeat. So you can have 1 and a 2 E and 1 9-stroke roll. So the 9-stroke roll starting on the upbeat, 1 and a 2 E and. Some other rolls that you might see, but we don't really count them out the way you do the other ones. But we have a whole note roll. That's just a measure of 60 notes. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a stop. Okay, super easy. Then we have a dotted half roll, which is going to be a dotted notes dotted note. So it's 3 beats. So 3 big beats. So that's going to be 3 beats of 60 notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4. Okay, those are the main ones you're going to see in rudimental solos or in concert band music. So after a while, this is kind of like your scales. You're just going to memorize what it looks like and what it should be in your head, just like you memorize the shapes of the scales. So you can use this cheat sheet or this video to refresh your memory, but you should get it memorized. Okay, guys? That's the way we roll.